Alright guys, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson. This time we're coming to you with a special fight preview. We're going to UFC on ESPN Plus number 6, aka UFC Fight Night Nashville. We're going to the flyweight division. A couple of flyweight debutantes. Now these two have fought in UFC before, but they are making their flyweight debut. We have Maycee the Future Barber versus JJ Aldrich. Thought this was a pretty interesting matchup. I'm not surprised that Maycee Barber is moving up to flyweight, as she has had trouble making strawweight several times in her short career. Whereas I was a little more surprised that they chose Aldridge and that she moved up. I haven't seen anything or heard anything about her having trouble making weight, and I don't think she's ever missed weight at strawweight before. So this could be a case of they want someone moving up with Barber to ease her into the division, and then also Aldrich is not the type to turn down a fight either. So anyway, we'll start off, we'll look at the stats between these two. Aldrich is the older fighter at 26 compared to Barber's 20 years old. Aldrich is the more experienced fighter, 7 wins and 2 losses, while Barber has a perfect 6-0 record. They are both the same height, 5 feet 5 inches, although Aldrich has a slightly longer reach at 67.5 inches to Barber's 65 inches. So now we've looked a little bit at both these two. We'll start off with JJ Aldrich, taking a look at her. So Aldrich's strength. First off, she is a technically superior fighter compared to Maycee Barber. Aldrich works with a good camp. She works with Trevor Whitman and trains alongside Rose Namajunas. Whitman, weird as a guy as he is, he's good at improving the technical abilities of his fighters, and that Aldrich is no exception. Has come a long way since her UFC debut. And one of those ways in which she is most technically superior, and brings me to her next strength, is that she has good boxing. She is very good within boxing range. She has really tightened up her hands a lot. She has some good kicks too, but I think she's much better overall with her hands. That is her strongest area of expertise. And then finally, one strength that Aldrich has over Barber is that she is far more experienced in the octagon. I believe this is going to be her 6th fight in the UFC, maybe 5th to Barber's 2nd. And along with that comes experience fighting on that big stage. But also, Aldrich has constantly faced fighters who are just as good as her, if not better, or I should say more experienced. She has more experience against fighters who were more experienced than her at the time she fought them. Aldrich has not had an easy career matchup-wise compared to Barber, who has constantly been matched up with fighters who are on roughly the same experience level as her. You know, she was brought up in that LFA feeder system where it's a lot like boxing, where they just constantly have fighters matching up, always skill levels. It's a slow payoff. Whereas Aldrich has the superior advantage in experience in that she has already made step-ups in her career against fighters who had more experience, had more wins, had been around longer than her. So now that we've looked at JJ Aldrich's strengths, let's look at her keys to victory. First off, I would recommend that because she has the better boxing of the two, that she keep the fight within boxing range. Barber has long legs. She's very good. She seems pretty good with her kicks. She throws them a lot, and she is also loves to be in the clinch. So Aldrich needs to work in that area between the two, keeping within boxing range, where she can use her superior skills. Another key to victory for JJ Aldrich is that she needs to take advantage of Barber's sloppiness. You know, Barber is young, she's inexperienced, and she's very eager, and so she hasn't had a lot of time to polish up all of her skills, and so she tends to be sloppy. She'll throw kicks at bad times. she'll go for takedowns, and she doesn't execute them properly and almost gives up position because of them, or her scrambles aren't as good. So JJ Aldrich needs to look for opportunities to take advantage of that sloppiness. And finally, for JJ Aldrich, key to victory, use the scrambles to her advantage. Like I said, I've seen several times in Barber's fights where she got very sloppy in the scrambles, and fighters who knew what they were doing could have easily taken advantage of it, or fighters that, weren't giving up a size advantage. For example, there was one time in Barber's last fight against Hannah Cifers, she went for a takedown, almost gave up position. Unfortunately for her, her athleticism and size advantage allowed her to not get too messed up against Cifers. So now that we've looked at JJ Aldrich, we'll move on and look at Maycee Barber. So Barber's strengths. First of all, she is naturally very athletic. I mean, everything you look for in a natural athlete, you pretty much find in Barber. Plus, she is young, so she has room to grow. She's fast, she's strong, she's quick. Like I said, everything you look for in a natural athlete, she has it, and that is rare in women's mixed martial arts right at this time. She has a very good elbows in the clinch. Not only in the clinch, but on the ground. Very strong elbows. She busted up Jamie Colleen, and she busted up Hannah Cifers with them. So, great elbows. And also, finally, and this might be Barber's biggest strength, and it's an intangible, much like Aldrich's biggest strength was. She is extremely self-confident. I mean, this girl fully believes in herself. She is drinking her own Kool-Aid to the point where she is borderline arrogant about it. She is already saying that she's going to be a bigger star than Ronda Rousey or even Conor McGregor were. So she's going in. She has no doubts that she's going to come out of this fight the victor. And that can be a great gift for a fighter. Huge advantage for fighters. If they believe in themselves, it often helps them to push through situations where they might not make it out of otherwise. So now we've looked at Barber's strengths, we will look at her keys to victory. As I said, whereas Aldrich needs to keep it in boxing range, I think Barber should work in the clinch more. Like I said, she has good elbows there. She has nice knees, and her size and strength and athleticism serve her very well in the clinch. So I think she should try to close the distance and get it to the clinch. I also think she needs to time takedowns and execute them properly to get into top position where she can land more elbows. The key here being that she needs to land them properly and avoid sloppiness in them. And then finally, Barber should avoid those prolonged boxing exchanges where Aldrich's technically superiority come to the forefront. She should either keep it at kickboxing range and use her kicks, or again, close distance and work into the clinch. So guys, that's about what I have for these two. I think this is a fairly close fight. I think it's closer than a lot of people are estimating it to be. From the odds, Barber is the odds-on favorite from what I've seen. Also, if you look at Tapology, out of like 300 and some people that voted for it, 88% favor Barber to only 12% for Aldrich. Personally, I think it's a lot closer. As to who I'm picking, I'm going to go with a safe pick. I'm going to go with Maycee Barber to win this. I think that she's being brought along by the UFC, and I don't think they're setting her up to lose this next fight. But again, I also think that it's going to be a lot closer than a lot of people are expecting. So look for JJ Aldrich to give Maycee Barber a lot more trouble than Hannah Cifers did, especially as Aldrich is not giving up the size and strength advantage that Hannah Cifers did. So guys, let me know what you think about not only this fight, but also my breakdown of it in the comments down below. Remember, guys, thumbs ups are always appreciated. And what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMAC Now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Guys, have a good night, and we'll see you next time.